Oh, okay, fantastic. So hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Tom Daniels, and I'm the Workforce Readiness Chair for the Northwest Ohio Human Resources Association, also known as NOHRA. We're happy that you're able to join us today for today's webinar. Today's webinar is brought to you in partnership with the Toledo Chamber of Commerce. So we're real happy to have that partnership. And as you may know, the mission of the NOHRA Workforce Readiness Committee is to help support the workforce needs of our members, but also identify opportunities for our members to use their expertise for workforce readiness support for those in our community. I'm going to now turn it over to my colleague over at the Toledo Chamber of Commerce, Megan Strahovski, who is the Workforce Initiatives Manager with the Toledo Chamber of Commerce, and she's going to help moderate today's discussion. Megan, over to you.
Thank you so much, Tom. It's so nice to see so many familiar faces and even new faces here today. And happy Second Chance Month. It's soon to be National Reentry Week as well. As the new Workforce Initiatives Manager, I've had almost 20 years of experience working with reentry. I've worked with welfare recipients. I've also worked with students to try and obtain funding for school, benefits, support services, and connect to employment to become self-sufficient. At the Chamber, we're always looking for new and innovative ways to solve our business members' challenges. One of the biggest challenges facing businesses today is the lack of workforce. 1 in 3 Americans have a criminal record, and more than 600,000 people are returning from the state and federal prisons every year. One solution for the labor shortage is fair chance hiring. Fair chance hiring is built on the premise that everyone, regardless of their background, should be fairly assessed for the role that they're qualified for, including those with criminal histories. Returning citizens are people returning to the community after being incarcerated or have felony convictions. And why should employers consider hiring somebody with a criminal background? Studies show that compared to the general workforce, these individuals have lower turnover rates, lower absenteeism, higher retention rates, and are more loyal employees. That results in lower training and turnover costs for your businesses, allowing businesses to continue to grow and be successful. In response to requests for assistance from business members in 2017, the Toledo Chamber of Commerce created the Reentry Development Initiative, or REDI, to provide assistance in the area of fair chance hiring. Our REDI website features an employer guidebook, which includes information on the Workforce Opportunity Credit, where employers can receive up to $2,400 in tax credits for hiring returning citizens, federal bonding, where they could receive up to $5,000 in a fidelity bond, and it also guides business members on making hiring decisions. You can find the employer guidebook on the REDI link below on our screen. Next up, I'll be introducing our expert speakers who work with returning citizens to provide training and access to the tools for triumph. Success stories and best practices for hiring returning citizens will also be discussed. Hopefully by the end of our hour, we'll convince you that taking a chance on returning citizens is a viable solution to discovering workforce. Please hold your questions until the end of the presentation or type your questions in the comment box. It is my pleasure to first introduce Mr. Eric W. Slack, JD, Community Employment Specialist of Goodwill Industries of Northwest Ohio. Eric W. Slack has served as the Reentry Coordinator and Community Employment Specialist at Goodwill Industries of Northwest Ohio, Inc. since 2016. Eric has a deep passion in assisting returning citizens in obtaining sustainable employment and advocating for criminal justice reform and equity issues. Eric has also served as a business consultant for the Economic Opportunity Planning Association of Greater Toledo. While serving as an assistant prosecuting attorney, he was credited with developing the legal protocol for obtaining injunctions against crack houses in the city of Toledo. The plan was eventually adopted by the Ohio Attorney General's office and used across the state of Ohio. Mr. Slack, please tell us about all the fantastic programming Goodwill has to offer.
Hey, Megan, how are you doing today? Thank you so much for the invitation. I appreciate that. And again, welcome the opportunity. I want to welcome each and every one of you. Again, my name is Eric Slack, and some of the things that we do at Goodwill in the reentry program, we're increasing our footprint. One of the things that we like for people to know is that the model of Goodwill is essentially we use these stores, which most everyone thinks about and knows. The stores are the funding source for the opportunities and programs that we provide people for. So all of that is part of the Goodwill mission, which is essentially to help people help themselves through the power of work. And we do that through a number of programs and a number of strategies that we want to realize that a job is just the first step toward becoming independent. And we assist individuals and families in reaching their full potential through education, skills training, and employment. One of the things that we also want people to know, and specifically dealing with returning citizens, we offer a number of services here at our office at 1120 Madison Avenue, right on the corner of Madison and 11th Street. So we have what we call our Job Connection Center. That is our JCC, where we have 3 dedicated staff people. We have computer terminals, we have a fax machine, copy machine, and they will assist individuals not only with soft skills, resume development, interviewing techniques, but they will also help coordinate job fairs and other activities for returning citizens, because we want to make sure that people have them in order to look and search for a job. And we do that. And as I said, we have dedicated staff to help people to do that. And we also try to make sure they have that level of comfort to know that someone is there to help them with that particular resource. How our program is structured right now is we have a couple of reentry programs. One of them is called our Stay the Course program. That is a federal program that we have through the Department of Labor. And that is a reentry program where we start recruitment of people that are actually inside before they are returning citizens. Either they're in prison, or they're in a treatment facility, or they're in a halfway house, or in a facility where they're about to be released. And we start the recruitment and start the training in order to make sure that they have a seamless re-entry back into society. We also make sure that they are able to get their birth certificate or state ID. And then we offer them different types of opportunities in skilled trades positions or regular positions that are in the community to make sure that they have opportunities as well. These individuals are usually medium risk to high risk people. So we want to make sure that they have an opportunity as well. We work with them through case management. We work with them through job development, getting the job, and actually retaining the job that is a sustainable wage so that they can have a good outcome back into society. So that is our Stay the Course program. We also have a reentry program that I specifically operate, and that is dealing with barrier removal. So what we did in designing the program, my supervisor, Karen McConnell, decided that we could put together a program that would help fill in gaps, because there are gaps that prevent people from getting successful employment when they get out. One of those gaps that we just talked about was getting a birth certificate. Nowadays, that's $25 with the state of Ohio. If it's an out-of-state birth certificate, that could be anywhere up to $60 to $70. So we assist people with direct cash assistance with getting their birth certificate, also their state ID. Also, we will help people if they get a job with getting work clothes. Work boots are something with our manufacturing base that is very, very essential and very, very popular. So we will supply people with work boots, non-slip shoes, and steel toe boots. We also will supply people with work goggles. We also will supply individuals that are dependent upon someone else taking them to work, because TARDA may not go everywhere, like to the Chrysler Jeep plant, with gas cards to assist family members with taking them to work by putting some gas in their car. So that is something that we provide as a barrier removal. Also, we will pay for some training. We have a collaborative relationship with Penta Career Center, where we will pay for individuals to get their forklift certification. And we will pay all that and also provide transportation for them to get to Penta Career Center. So that's something that we provide also to individuals as part of our reentry programming. Again, we provide job training. We refer people to the Job Connection Center. Once they get a job, we will make sure that we provide job retention services where we will monitor with them and meet with their supervisors to make sure that they're doing fine. And we will make sure that they have a nice, seamless transition. We also have what we call the Pink Toolbox program. That is something that helps females. We know that childcare is something that is very essential, and we provide those particular services to assist women with childcare. Transportation, in certain instances, we have provided transportation up to providing a vehicle, purchasing a vehicle for someone that, but for that vehicle, they would not be able to keep that job. So those are some of the things that we have with the Goodwill Reentry Program. We do have a number of success stories. There is one particular individual, we will call him Jose. Jose did a 25-year sentence for a murder that happened years and years ago. If I would describe the details, I think that some of you would be aware of it. But Jose came here as a referral from the Ohio Department of Opportunity and Services. So we do job training for those, opportunity for Ohioans with disability. So he came here for us in order to do job training, and also he came because of the reentry program. Jose had never had a job before in his entire lifetime. The only skill set he had, particular positions that he had inside of prison. Well, Jose came here and he started job training, did very well in that, and all of a sudden COVID hits. And he has to sit on the sideline for a while. Well, as soon as COVID cleared up, there was a position that opened in our contracts division. That's one of the things that we have here at Goodwill. We have a number of jobs in retail. We have a number of jobs in janitorial services. We have a number of jobs in the warehousing division. So there's a job that opened up in our contracting division because we cleaned the particular ODOT stations down in Bowling Green off of I-75, and we needed a driver to transport janitorial crews. And Jose just happened to have his license, and it was a perfect fit. He works with the team, he transports them each and every day, and they love him, and he definitely is making a positive impact and impression. And he says he enjoys his job, and he thanks Goodwill for giving him a new lease on life and something productive to do. So that's one of the things that we look at with our success stories. We try to create a pipeline so that individuals can start off when they're released with job training and also getting those basic essentials that they need. And if they need referrals for a GED, referrals for substance abuse, referrals for any number of things along that pipeline, we make sure that they get that with the ultimate goal of them getting nice, good, sustainable employment with a seamless transition back into society. And we're looking forward to some things that we have in the future that we'll be unveiling soon. So we ask you to stay tuned to that. But that is in a nutshell of some of the things that Goodwill Reentry Services does right now. And we would definitely love to have you take advantage of our services, and would definitely love for you to come and look at our new office and our Job Connection Center. Those are the things that we have going on right now, Megan.
Fantastic, Eric. It seems like you have a lot of wonderful services for the returning citizens in our area. Let me just ask you a quick question. Can you clarify medium and high risk? What does that mean?
So medium high risk, when you have individuals that are in prison, They have low risk, medium risk, and high risk, and it's dependent upon the crime that you have committed. And when you go to intake at the prison, they will assess what your risk level is. And usually, like at Toledo Correctional Institution, right now it's a lot of high risk individuals there. However, there is a section that CTF has where it's low risk in individuals that are getting ready to get released. So medium, low, and high risk are the levels that the Department of Corrections designates for individuals, and is based on the crime that they have committed. And usually those individuals that have medium and high risk, those are more higher degree felony crimes. So those are a particular type of individuals that employers and programs will shy away from. But we want to make sure that they get an opportunity also.
That's great, Eric. Thanks so much. And thank you so much for being here today.
My pleasure.
All right. Next up, we have Mr. Craig Gabers, Director of Workforce Development at Network Division of Zeph Center. Over 25 plus years with Zeph Center, Craig Gabers has secured grants in excess of $60 million and has managed various workforce development, mental health, and vocational rehabilitation services, programs, and staff. Prior to Zeph Center, Craig was employed at Quadco Rehabilitation Center for 8 years as Divisional Management Coordinator of JTPA Occupational and Work Adjustment Training Program, and worked 3.5 years at First Call for Help as a social worker and hospital pre-screener. Craig, can you tell us about all the terrific work and services that Zeph Center has to offer?
Well, thank you for that introduction, Megan. I greatly appreciate it. We're excited at Zeph Center to be a great community partner. Over the past 35 years, we have served individuals with multiple challenges. Some of those individuals are individuals who are reentry. And what we see from our experience is often, if you look at statistics, it's kind of a good fit for our organization as a whole, because a lot of individuals who have come out of prison and jail have struggled with substance use disorders and mental health challenges. So it is a connection to our agency and on the treatment we do. So often we are working with people who are in recovery, but we also work with individuals who come into the general population. We have been a very active partner at Ohio Means Jobs for the past 20 years. We are very excited about all the things we've been able to do. And I think one of the things we have been the operator for the past 18 years. And during that period of time, we were able to work with a wide variety of individuals. But looking at the challenges of people who are coming from reentry present opportunities. And what we try to look at is their potential. I think in what we really focus our energy for is similar to what Eric is saying, is focus on developing individuals and giving them opportunities and opening the door of opportunity. That's what we're really looking at, is how do we develop individuals and developing them to their fullest potential. We understand people make mistakes, and these individuals who are reentry have had some challenges in their life that maybe have not always had the greatest opportunities, maybe home life or neighborhoods where they were did not create the best influence on them. So what we try to do is look and help them kind of carve out a niche and to re-enter the workforce, re-enter society, and kind of look at opportunities. What you mentioned earlier as it relates to the grant writing, we have secured a variety of different grants. I think what individuals need to know is there's a variety of different funding that can be accessed to help people develop the skills, develop their soft skills, their technical skills, and kind of their interpersonal skills to be successful in the workforce. So when I talk about multi-funding, is one of the key concepts of the one-stop is to merge and collaborate the 19 federally funded workforce programs. We've been very fortunate to be involved in the WIOA, which is a Workforce Innovation and Opportunities Act. We've been involved with temporary assistance to needy families. We've also been very fortunate to bring a lot of additional dollars to Lucas County through U.S. Department of Health and Human Service, U.S. Department of Labor, to bring money to help work with individuals from a variety of different walks of life. And what we try to do in that process is to be able to pull out the work skills and the characteristics that will help them become successful in the workforce, okay? So again, it's around developing people and finding the person's potential. One of the things we also see is diverse backgrounds, meaning some individuals come to us who have a lot of potential, have worked, have great skill sets, whether it be in the trades, whether we've worked with people who've had professional level employment. We're looking at what are their skill sets that they can bring to the employer that'll make them a valuable employee. Further, we also work with individuals who may, due to life situations or we're not able to complete school, sometimes we're working with them on their basic skills. We also work with individuals who have high skill level and then low skill level. So again, we're always working on barriers. So when we look at the services and the training we do to help these individuals, we've used different models. And there are some people who come into the system who just want to get a job and they think they can do it with just a little assistance. And sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. But we do have programs that we can work and develop people. We're currently using a model called mobility coaching, which is really a model of where you're working with the individuals, not only on their work characteristics, but also having balance in their life to make sure things are stable. For people to be successful in the workforce, they need to have a safe place to live. They have to have reliable transportation or a plan to be able to get to work. So our mobility coaching really works on identifying a person's needs and coming up with a plan to approach it in a very systematic way that helps guide them toward helping them achieve their goals. Our mobility coaching really uses kind of a self-assessment, but it then also creates a plan and how we connect to different resources and services that are available to help people navigate. We also try to use different assessment tools. We have been very involved in the Work Ready credentialing here in Lucas County. Our staff have done a wonderful job in doing the readiness side of it, is preparing them through online learning modules to upgrade their skills in reading, math, and communication. We've also then been able to test them to attain their Work Ready certification in basic skills. Further, we sometimes have to work with helping them figure out what type of job best fits their needs. So we utilize CareerScope, which is a tool to assess interest and aptitudes that helps us in our vocational guidance and our mobility mentoring to guide them through this process. Once we have kind of assessed them and moved them forward, we're really, again, working on developing their potential. And they're given a variety of different opportunities to develop those skill sets. We work with people on digital skills and digital literacy so they can compete in the workforce. How many jobs today have computers that we have to work on? Whether that be in manufacturing, whether that be in warehouse and distribution, technology is all around us. So we are trying to assist our individuals to attain those skill sets. We also are working on education enhancements for them to improve their basic skills. Often we work with employers who want to help them improve that they have some basic skills in the math and the writing skills. So we use different tools, but we also work with our community partners. We work very closely with Owens Community College, Aspire, or better known as GED program, along with Penna Career Center. That ability to connect them and kind of help them walk them through that, I think is a key issue of working with reentry individuals. Providing them support and coaching them through that process is very vital. Along with that, we sometimes are working with people who are multi-generational poverty, and we provide access to getting ahead training, which is a bridges out of poverty training that really works on helping the individual gain insight into how poverty has impacted them, but also setting a plan of helping them be able to understand people from other walks of life. So it's a kind of an education process. Further, we have available is Bring Your A Game, which is where we focus on kind of the work characteristics and work skills, which include on attitude, appearance, attendance, achievement, ambition, and accountability and acceptance. We use that. That's an evidence-based model that has been very effective for individuals to kind of move through that. Further, we're trying to use, again, career exploration. A key issue that I think is important is finding the right job match. If we can find the match that fits their interests and what they like to do, that leads to better job success. And we think that is a part of the whole coaching process that we use. From there, we can go a couple different directions through our grants. One, we can provide job placement assistance, where we're working on job seeking skills, how to do a resume, how to complete an online application, how to prep yourself for the various interviews we now have today, including Zoom interviews. Through COVID, we've learned how to adapt, and we now work with employers in providing these interviews through the use of Zoom. And so our staff has done a wonderful job in trying to prepare people. And that has been one of our challenges during COVID, is to kind of prepare people for these online type of interviews. So again, it's a coaching process. We're always coaching them up, trying to help improve their skills, how they present. In some of our grants, we have various resources that we can train people in a variety of different areas. So we do work with our community education partners, including Owens Community College, Northwest State Community College, as well as Penna Career Center and Trainco. So through these different funding groups that we have been able to secure, we're able to train people in a variety of different areas, including certified production technician, logistics technician, for some individuals in distribution, we are helping them get a forklift license, auto repair, welding certifications, truck driving licenses as well, through a variety of different portions. I think what we try to do through our services is, again, create opportunities, hope, and opportunities. For an employer like I am, we're looking for people every day. We want people who come to work every day. We want people who can get along with their fellow coworkers. We want them to be able to perform their tasks at their highest level. We want them to be able to understand that business has an understanding of they have certain product they have to produce, certain services they have to produce, certain data they have to produce. So our goal is always about developing them so they can meet those employer needs. With that, we provide a variety of different services to businesses that can help them, okay? One is, the first thing is we can try to do pre-employment testing. We focus on basic skills testing. We've done typing testing. We've done writing samples. We do have some, in the past, we've worked with employers that do some dexterity testing. So we've been having that opportunity. We also do pre-screening. We work with the employer, looking at the job description and trying to figure out who would be a good match for those individuals. We can also schedule interviews with the employer. We set up Zoom interviews where we can monitor and work with the employer in today's environment. We also try to provide information on what are the various resources out there that can help the employer meet their workforce needs. I think what we try to look at is, what is a person's potential? often in the past, people look at their history and say, oh, but what there's a lot of potential out there. And as an employer, I hope you take the opportunity to look and be able to go down this path of saying, I need a workforce. I know I'm going to have to spend some time in developing my workforce, but these individuals are, as Eric said, very reliable, dependable, and they can provide a lot to the business to help your business be successful. So hopefully I was giving you some options. We would be more than happy to work with you on finding that. We're always looking at opportunities as well to bring more resources to our community. And we compete on federal level grants that this fiscal year, I think we are around about $5 million of federal grants and helping people create opportunities for them. So we're always looking at how we can continue to expand. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Craig. You guys just have such a variety of different programs. It's just amazing to see. Some words that you said: opportunities, collaboration, coaching. I think those are very important things. And Eric said, talking about a pipeline. There's so many community programs out here and so much access to training. I just really hope that we're able to collaborate with our businesses, let them know about all these things that we have available out here. But I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Craig. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Miss Ursula Barrera Richards, JD, Chief of Human Resources and Compliance at Zeph Center. Before coming to Zeph Center, Ursula Barrera Richards served as a Human Resources Director for Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services at NOPH. With 17 years of public sector experience, Ms. Barrera Richards is a passionate, strategic change agent with the goal of elevating organizations and cultures. She specializes in public sector labor relations and creating innovative ways to solve problems by employing her legal, public relations, public policy, and human resource expertise. Ursula, please share with us Zeph Center's best practices in hiring returning citizens.
Thank you for having us today. I am so pleased to be able to follow my colleague, Craig. He does an incredible job with the staff that we have to create opportunities for employees and reentry individuals. I am going to start I just have a few slides that I started working on last week. So really what I want to share is how we organically became an employer of second chances. It's not like we had a policy one day that said we are going to target this demographic of employee. What happened is that we, as part of Zeph Center, we are a behavioral health agency that's been in the community for almost 50 years. We have a wide continuum of services, from behavioral health to addiction services to recovery housing, the services that Craig's team provides. And we would organically get candidates that would come for our recovery housing through our peer program who have lived experience, which some of it includes having a background where one has been involved in some criminal activity. And we made a conscious decision that when we get candidates through the recovery house or who come through the peer program or who have even been patients in some capacity and have had interactions with the law, that is not going to be something that is automatically prohibitive for us. And we have done a few things which I will talk about on the next slide, but I wanted to reiterate what our colleague Megan had said earlier, that none of us is in a position to not accept employees. We need to be as open as we possibly can. We cannot just arbitrarily disregard employees in this tight labor market. And in our business in healthcare, there are a host of statutory prohibitions for certain positions where you deal with vulnerable people, where certain criminal convictions could be prohibitive. But there are still opportunities to be creative and not necessarily have a good candidate in that department, but possibly in another one. So we have to ask the questions about criminal backgrounds, but it's also how you ask and how you present it. And some of my team, they're on the call today. We spend sometimes hours trying to figure out where we could plug in people, how to address their situation, but we also frame it in a way that the activity, whatever the background is it related to the job? And what I would encourage you all to do is, to the extent you can with your HRIS system, utilize language that is more inclusive of people who are reentering the community. We are able, through our HRIS system, to update language to make it less scary to somebody who would have a background with some criminal activity. And we add it in the acknowledgement section where it's not necessarily prohibitive. Don't be scared off by this. Please be honest, because we have to consider it. But what we consider in practice behind the scenes is the length of time since it happened. Is there a relationship to the job? And what are the mitigating factors? We have the ability to do that, and we're certainly going to do that. And we have not been disappointed. The employees for whom we have gone that extra step have really paid off for us and been very loyal employees, very loyal employees. So how you can work this through in the workplace is by examining your own language. We're in behavioral health and addiction services. Stigma is huge for us. Eliminating stigma, minimizing stigma. That goes for hiring people who have come from the community who have criminal backgrounds. We never want to use the term hiring felons, hiring criminals. People who have a criminal background, people with a conviction, people with arrest is sounder language to use when you're trying to create an inclusive environment for the people who you have hired. And then with the employees, be people-centric. And what I mean by that is explaining, when you get the opportunity to actually go through the interview, explain why you have to address the criminal background, because they might not know the nuances of, in our case, Medicaid rules. We have Medicaid rules that we have to follow, and there are certain levels of felonies that can be prohibitive to being a Medicaid provider. So we want to really explain that in-depthly and use compassionate language and not vilify them when they're trying to get in the workforce, but take that time to explain. And in some of the, which I consider success stories, we have been able to divert employees, not necessarily for the position that they were seeking, but put them in a different position based on the background that they had. So like I said, with Medicaid, some people who are billable people cannot have certain convictions or they can't be part of Medicaid, but we can put them in a non-billable position, and we can put them in a clerical position or a facilities position, and we have done that. What we encounter also is people who have misdemeanor records, not necessarily felonies, but misdemeanor records for driving incidents. So a lot of employers, you wouldn't be able to hire them if they cannot drive. However, we can do lots of workarounds as long as you state it with them about you cannot drive in the course of our business. However, there are lots of other things that you could do to get around, and we recommend how they could get to other locations, but we didn't want to not hire somebody because of this function. That is some of the experiences that we have had, and what the wonderful service that you are getting here through the REDI project is we have given you what we do and how we do it. We have the privilege of having lots of referrals by people who are reentry. You have the resources of Zeph Center that you can contact the team that Craig leads, Goodwill. There are so many opportunities out there as long as you eliminate some of these barriers at the front end. So thanks for having us today.
Thank you so much, Ursula. what an important message that you have for our business members. You had mentioned that sometimes people see it as scary, which I understand, and maybe just taking a look at or connecting with some of the different businesses that have hired returning citizens, I think is a great option. And also you stated building an inclusive environment at work. I mean, that is something that's so important right now. And, you know, if we have such a lack of workforce right now, why not grab from different places that you haven't normally looked at before? Not only working with returning citizens, but you could work with folks that have disabilities, taking a look at veterans and different other groups that you could find in order to replace or fill the workforce gap. Now what I'd like to do is open the floor to anyone that may have any questions. Does anybody have any questions for our speakers, or just any general questions or statements?
I have a quick question. Tom Naylor with the Zeph Center. What's being done, and this is, I'm just saying this from experience, what's being done to educate employers on, a lot of times if you go to an employer, they'll say, yes, I'm happy to hire a felon, but we don't want anyone with a violent crime. We don't want anyone with a sex offense. We don't want anyone with any drug charges, and so on and so forth. So it seems like they write off these lists of these people they won't work with. And I think a lot of time businesses have to understand, like, these people do have felonies. So you see what I'm saying?
Right. What you're saying is they're open to possibly hiring returning citizens, but not this, and this.
Yeah, and then it's like, what do you want? People that, people don't go to jail for jaywalking. So,
I think that's a valid statement that you're sharing with us, and I know that I think, like I said, it's a little scary for businesses to kind of go out on a limb and work with folks that have different backgrounds. But I think maybe just going to different presentations such as this and opening up to maybe other businesses that have had maybe experiences and learning from them, and hopefully maybe opening their eyes to the different opportunities that they have in this area. But yes, I understand.
I wanted to say, I think it's really important for us as employers, when you're engaging in this, is there a relationship to the job that they're doing? So a sex offender can't work with children. Somebody with white collar crimes can't be a fiduciary. That's not sound hiring, but you could certainly, there's a whole host of other things you can do. And I think it takes all of us just spreading the word and sharing this verbiage and just thinking about it. Like, just think of the relation to the job and minimizing that stigma of employers.
And I think also, to kind of piggyback on what Ursula was saying, it deals with us educating different employers about reentry and about individuals, and informing them that 90% of people that are in prison are going to be released. So they're already in your community, and family members already have them as part of their family. So they're in the community and you're dealing with them directly or indirectly. So it's best to work as integrating them back into the community, educating them about that and giving them opportunity. I think that's something that we really need to stress in terms of housing, in terms of employment. They're already in the community and you're dealing with them directly or indirectly. So it's best to be knowledgeable about who you're dealing with and how to deal with them.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom. Great question. Did anybody else? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, no problem. Eric, thanks for sharing that, by the way. That was related actually to one of the questions that was posted in the chat, but then also I had was, we have a number of HR professionals or company owners, people who are hiring managers who are a part of the webinar today. So if they wanted to explore their specific company or their situation, what's the best contact? Is that to start with you to connect over resources? Is it to connect with one of the partners that's been on the call today? So what recommendations would you have?
If people were to reach out to me directly, I do have a grab bag of different service providers that I work with. So I can run through that and then connect them directly with the different service providers.
So maybe then the best contact would be you, is to at least start with you, and then you could be able to direct them to those resources. Sounds like.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Great. And then I had a question from the HR perspective, representing the Northwest Ohio HR Association. How can HR professionals help? So even if we're not in a position that we're hiring, but how can we use our expertise to support this initiative? So your opinion, Megan, and then even maybe some of our panelists would be great.
Absolutely. I think just with different HR practices, one of the greatest things that you could do is, instead of asking about records or felony convictions on the application, is waiting until maybe you look through and see the different qualifications that a worker has. And then maybe once it gets to the point where you're looking at maybe hiring them, that you can maybe look into the background and ask questions that way. That way you're just not, at the very beginning, you're not just weeding out people at the very beginning and then just seeing what sort of qualifications and merit they have. Anybody else like to feel the question?
I think another way is to offer us information as some of the things that you're looking for. A lot of times there are unwritten rules or unwritten signals or norms that HR people look for, that individuals that are interviewing or applying for jobs, they don't know, and they don't know what they don't know. So sometimes if you could share that information specifically about different cues or different unwritten rules you're looking for, as well as specifics about the job that you are looking for, if with individuals, if you're looking for a certain technical aspect, if you're looking for a certain educational or skill level aspect, if you share that, these are some of the things that we're looking at, this is what we're seeing, and this is what we're not seeing in different individuals, and we want them coached up to this, or we would like them to focus on this. So if you could share that information with the different service providers, I think that will be helpful too.
I would agree with Eric, is getting the employer feedback of what their expectations are, the skill sets. And the key is, in any type of workforce, is developing people. And I think is finding motivated, driven individuals who are going to come to work, are going to perform their tasks, and they're going to get along. A lot of times, that's the biggest challenge, is the soft skill side of this. The technical skills people can develop if they have an interest in it and they have some level of aptitude. It's looking at the potential. And that's the issue, is finding those individuals who may have not had that opportunity to be developed at a younger age due to family situations, environment, whatever. Create an opportunity. You'd be very happy. And I've had the opportunity to hire individuals who are reentry, and they're great employees, very dedicated, and have been able to grow within our organization, as well as take jobs outside of our agency after we gave them the opportunity. So I think you got to look at the potential of what a person brings to the table. So I just think that's the key issue. It's one person at a time, and you as HR people have the opportunity to be at the table and to kind of change people's minds of, what are you looking for? I mean, a production line supervisor needs somebody who can come in, perform the job, and get the job done and be there every day so the line can continue. So it's looking at that potential, looking at what they can help your business so you can be successful as a business.
Anybody else have anything to offer?
I just wanted to jump in and kind of add to what Craig and Eric said. Hi, I'm Hattie. I work for Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities. Something that I found sort of doing, like, I guess you want to say the boots on the ground work with individuals who have criminal histories, usually felony convictions in their past, is that when an HR professional or a hiring manager is really willing in an interview to have an open conversation with that person about their criminal history, saying, hey, I noticed on your application, you indicated that you had a felony charge in 2002 or whatever it may be. Can we talk about that? Can you tell me more about that? What have you done since then? What a lot of times you'll find out that maybe what actually happened isn't as scary as the legal name of the charge makes it sound. I was working with an IT professional who had a trespassing charge, for example, and it just so happened that he was arrested trying to get into his parents' house where he lived at the time. Obviously, there were other circumstances surrounding that, but that was a huge barrier for him. And when he was able to actually talk to people about that experience, I think everyone felt a lot more comfortable. Sometimes you'll find that, since then, maybe they've gone through extensive treatment or training or something that, Goodwill and Eric offer. And a lot of times I think that gives good insight into that person, what their history is actually like. But I think it's a scary subject for people to talk to strangers about sometimes. So a lot of my participants don't ever actually get asked or get the opportunity to talk about their criminal background.
I think that's a great point, Hattie. I mean, just to be able to explain maybe the different circumstance they were in might shed a little light to employers of why they have that offense. But you had also mentioned a question, something that I run into frequently with employers is the issue of background checks. Many of the HR associates I speak with don't know how to accurately read and understand background checks. Does anybody have resources for that? Does anybody have anything that they're willing to share?
So, and just to elaborate on that, something I ran into actually just a couple of weeks ago was I had an individual who, it was of course, some people run BCI background checks and some people just do like the free internet ones. And of course, so you never quite know what all's going to be pulled up on somebody, but they were charged with a felony and found not guilty. And the way it was presented on the background check, the employer didn't understand that. And so there's always just a lot of work to do on the back end, and we run into that quite a bit.
Sam Hancock from the Air Office on Aging. I haven't met many of you. Some of your names look familiar. I'm the VP of HR here. I was thinking about that last question. Most of the people we hire are nurses and licensed social workers. And so the whole issue of criminal histories and things like that, we do the background checks, but it's really not an issue because social workers and nurses obviously can't work in that field with having had some of those kinds of problems. But we do have other positions, where we can possibly hire a person who has had some problems. And I was thinking of one situation, a young lady we hired. Well, let me back up. We have a list of what we call, I don't know, maybe some of you have seen it or have it yourselves, disqualifying events, literally, a laundry list of offenses that would disqualify a person from working for us. But I was thinking about a situation where we had a young lady who we did the FBI BCI check on, and many of you have probably had this experience. When they tell us that they're putting the results in the mail, then we know that there's probably an issue there, or maybe a mistake or whatever. But in her situation, long story short, they said they were going to put it in the mail, and when we did get it, she had I think it was a petty theft, if I'm not mistaken, but it was like 30 years ago. So it didn't really prevent us from hiring her, and she worked out well, and then she went on to another job later on. So as I've been listening to all of you, I've been thinking about some of our, it would be primarily our entry level positions where, maybe there is some flexibility that we hadn't really thought about. But that was one situation where we were able to hire a person who did have a a problem, but the disqualifying events, because as I'm sure you all know, working in the field of healthcare, dealing with seniors and all the contracts we have with insurance companies, and then all the regs with the Ohio Department of Aging, Ohio Department of Health. I mean, there are certain limitations that we just have. But I was just thinking, as I've listened to the presentations about maybe there might be some opportunities. I need to do a little more research myself in terms of talking with our staff about historically what we've been able to do with some of the positions. And but I thought I'd mention that because I was pleasantly surprised that we could hire the young lady because she was an excellent candidate and worked real well for us. I thought I'd mention that.
I appreciate your comment. Thank you so much. Next, what I was going to do is ask Miss Ursula, could you share with us how you would handle maybe different managers that have concerns with hiring returning citizens? Ursula, you still on here? I know she had to, I know she had to go to a meeting here. Does anybody have any, well, what we'll do is, since it's 1 o'clock, I will collect all the questions, and then with our REDI committee, what we do is we like to talk with different businesses and providers about some of these different things. And what I can do is bring some of these questions to our next REDI meeting and speak about those. But I want to go ahead and thank Eric Slack, Craig Gabers, Ursula Barrera Richards, Julie Sanderson, Amanda DePero, and most importantly, Tim Daniels and NOHRA for making this event possible. After hearing from our speakers about programming for returning citizens, their success stories and best practices in fair chance hiring, I hope that you feel more comfortable in taking a chance on hiring a group of people that have lower turnover rates, lower absenteeism, higher retention rates, and are loyal as a viable solution to workforce. Cherry Street Mission, they have a class of 7 office specialists graduating next week. If you're interested in knowing about or hiring some of those individuals, please reach out to me. I'll add my email address in the chat. And if you have any sort of additional questions, please do reach out. Tom, did you have any additional closing remarks?
I would just like to thank you, Megan and Julie, for your guys' partnership and sharing this information both with the community as well as our HR community. Again, as the Workforce Readiness Chair, our goal isn't to recreate a whole bunch of new programming. Our job is to, or at least our mission is to make sure that we're connecting to all the resources that already exist in the community and helping our HR professionals both with their workforce readiness needs, but then also finding opportunities to have our members share their expertise to help our community with the future workforce. So thank you guys very much for your partnership. Very much appreciated.
Before we sign off, I see Joe Luzar has his hand raised. So Joe, if you'll unmute.
Yes, please.
Just one quick second. I don't want to take, I know it's the end of the meeting, but this is a fantastic get together. I'm Joe Luzar with the Regional Growth Partnership. Just wanted to add one suggestion maybe to follow up on all this fantastic information you've given us. There are a few companies, I'm sure, in this area who are working with ex-offenders and working with drug-related issues and do that almost as a mission. One that comes to mind is Mike Osborne with Credit Adjustments, and I'm sure there are others in the area. And I'm just suggesting that maybe we bring these folks to the forefront and share their experiences because literally I know Mike personally, and he does this as a mission for his company. And I'm sure he'd have a lot of really interesting information for the companies who are thinking about doing this, but may be a little hesitant. But they have a vast array of experience in dealing with these types of issues. Just a suggestion.
Absolutely, yes. If you could give me their information, that would be fantastic.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks again, everyone. Enjoy your day. It looks like the sun's finally popping out. So please enjoy your weekend. And I really appreciate you meeting with us today. Take care.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.